Welcome back to the channel, my friends. Warhammer Man Studios. I'm Warhammer Man, and today we're taking a look at this week's pre-orders, and they are live. This video is sponsored by CMO Games. More on that later. Alright, so let's jump right in. We got this week's pre-orders. So just scrolling down here past last week's Adeptus Custodes and the Orcs as well. We got the dice. We got the data cards, the codexes. And then here we get into the brand new good stuff right here. So we have the Slaves to Darkness Darkoath Army Set. So this is the big release for this week, and then we got a bunch of old world stuff as well. So $200 for this bad boy. It is limited. It is going to include a supplement and some tokens, but we know that's only really going to be good for the next few months until Age of Sigmar 4.0 comes out. So realistically, when we're buying this, we should be looking exclusively at the models. So first off, we have the mounted Darkoath leader right here. So really cool model right here. Absolutely love the horse, the skulls. There's some variants with the weapons and everything. Got to figure this guy's going to be priced somewhere around like 45 to 50 bucks. Then we had the Wilder Fiend. Also, again, really cool model right here. Absolutely love this guy. I would imagine he's going to be priced somewhere in like the $60 range, somewhere around there. Does have some like minor options, but overall appears to be like a easy to build or monopose kit, with the exception of like just some variants on like the head and stuff. All right, and then we had the mounted Darkoath, the cavalry. So 5 of those in the box set. Again, just really nice models right here. I'm essentially looking at these Darkoath models as if they're going to be replacing or at least serving the same purpose as the Chaos Marauders. So massive upgrade on like the poses of the horses, the little bit of variance in the actual models themselves, and then the riders is where you see the real big difference. And I would assume somewhere around like the $55 price point for these 5 models as well. And then we had the actual like Darkoath warriors. So 20 of them, 2 packs of 10. We pointed out previously that there's some variations with like the weapons they can be equipped with, and likely the heads as well. But overall, these are like monopose models. So again, I expect these to be priced somewhere around like the 60 bucks for 10 price range. So I think when this box set is all added up, when we're looking at it at retail value, you're looking at somewhere around $300, maybe slightly less, which is roughly about like a 30% savings over MSRP. So it is definitely a good box. It's definitely a good price. You're getting early access to all of these models and getting a new range in a bundle. But I don't think it's like an absolute amazing steal of a deal either. So here's a little supplement right here. It's going to come with the War Scroll cards. Again, the problem with these is they don't really have any value because they're going to be dated in about 3 months when the new edition comes out. Potentially up to 6, but I really am still counting on like that mid-July release date. And then we have the tokens as well, which these are cool and everything. It's definitely nice to have some tokens. But the fact of the matter is these are about as cheap as it gets and basically have like no value. So really cool box set. Definitely excited for these actual models. It is a good deal, but I don't think it's like absolutely amazing or anything like that. I think realistically, depending on what you're looking for your army to expand out your Slaves to Darkness, or if you're just looking to get started, this is definitely a nice box set. Do I think it's going to be selling out quickly and people are going to have trouble getting a hold of it? No, I really don't. I think this is going to be popular, but Slaves to Darkness is not like a super popular faction. This is not some amazing steal of a deal. So I don't think anybody's going to have any problem getting a hold of one of these bad boys. All right, so moving on from there, we've got quite a bit of old world models coming out this week. So lots of orcs and goblins. We've got a little bit of the Bretonnian stuff and a little something for the Tomb Kings as well. So we'll just kind of rapid fire through them. So we had the Goblin Wolf Rider Mob, 60 bucks. The Orc Boar Chariots, 80 bucks for 2. We have the Black Orc Mob, 80 bucks. We've got the Orc Boar Boys Mob, 60 bucks. We have the Orc Boys and Orc Error Boys Mob, 80 bucks. The Orc Shamans for 45 bucks. The Night Goblin Bosses for 38 bucks. And to tell you the truth, just as I'm looking at these, a lot of them are mass amounts of models, like big squads. But to consider that these models are like 20, 30, even more years old and selling at these prices is just crazy to me. I didn't fall for the nostalgia trick with Old World, but I know a lot of people did, and I'm still not convinced with this. So we have the Orc Boys Mob, 80 bucks for those. The Orc Bosses, 42 bucks for those. We have the Casket of Souls. So this was redone. They added in some extra detail. It's $62 now. They basically like fixed a couple of things. It does look like it's been remastered a little bit. I believe when you open the casket, there's some detail inside that didn't used to be present. Pretty cool model. It holds up okay. And like the pricing did go up on that, obviously, from what it used to be back in the day. But like $62 for something like that, that's larger size and it's like a little mini diorama reworked in resin. I totally get that. It's some of like the mass amounts of infantry and then also like the smaller groups of characters. The pricing just doesn't add up for me. So then we have the Necrolith Colossus, $78. And we had the new head basically for the Colossus. So back in the day, they like showed off the head in some pictures, but never actually released it. So now you have like the 3 head variants. So I guess that's a little added bonus if you've been after that for the last 30 years. We've got those carrion. They were supposed to be out a couple weeks ago and didn't show up. $75 for the 3 of those, and the one is a brand new sculpt. And then we have Lady Élisse Duchaard. All right, so very cool model right here. $56 for her. I absolutely love the unicorn. I would have loved to see this in plastic. Lady Élisse is really, really nicely sculpted. The like flowers sculpted into her cloth, the actual chalice that she's holding up, just all have amazing amounts of detail. Very, very nicely done. And something Games Workshop has struggled with in the past. Some nice feet on her as well. Only the true OGs will get that one. But really cool. Definitely a nice setup right here. $56 for her is actually surprising. For like a mounted model in resin that's brand new, that's actually a pretty good price, honestly. Now a quick message from today's sponsor. CMO Games has been selling Games Workshop products online for over 20 years. They carry the full line of Games Workshop products, including Warhammer 40,000, Age of Sigmar, Necromunda, Blood Bowl, paint tools, and more. Almost all Games Workshop products are priced at 15% off MSRP. CMO Games takes pre-orders for most Games Workshop products released at their earliest date possible. 12:01 a.m. on Saturday, they go live. Most of these pre-order products are also priced at 15% off MSRP. CMO Games offer free shipping in the US 48 with an order of $50 or more. Their customer service is top-notch and they ship most orders within 24 hours. Visit CMOGames.com using the affiliate link in the description and let them know that you heard about CMO Games from Warhammer Man. Now back to the video. And then just moving on to the last few items here, we have the Peasant Bowmen for $80. We have the Men at Arms for $80 as well. And then we've got that Lord on Royal Pegasus. So $65 for the Lord on Royal Pegasus. This is a new model. Recently was featured in the Bretonnia box set. Really, really cool model right here. Again, just beautiful detail. Gotta love like the little bits of like design in the feather on the wings. The actual rider is very, very nicely done. Very nicely sculpted. We've got some minor variations when you build this as well. So you can build the character or the standard. And this is one of the actual plastic kits. So again, $65 for this. A really nice price. So I think realistically, Games Workshop has nailed it with the new models and pricing. They've done really well with the new sculpts in resin and plastic. They've priced those models appropriately. I think my main issue with the Old World is just those old models, even though they're kind of selling them in bulk in like the larger regiments of like 20 or even like 30s in some cases. The prices are just too high. Now that's my honest opinion. I have no real nostalgia towards those old models. I had a lot of them back in the day. It was cool to see them coming back up. I'm glad for all the people that were after them that can get a hold of them. I'm really glad that people have the ability now to play like old Warhammer Fantasy and use those old like models and armies that they had. But it just has no appeal to me, especially as Sigmar gets cooler and cooler. I see less and less reason that I would ever be interested in Warhammer Fantasy battles. But to each his own, and I'm happy for the people that are. So that being said, we had the Kingdom of Bretonnia transfer sheet, $35 for that bad boy, right in line with all Games Workshop's other transfers. And then we're just into some of the stuff left over from last week. The Bale Predator upgrade pack, Children of Teclis paperback. We have the Dead Kingdom hardback, Big Daka special edition still available, $75 for that sign. That is kind of surprising that they didn't even sell 1,500 of these worldwide. So when they put out like a popular book that everybody's after, it's like impossible to get a hold of one. And then they put out something like this, Big Daka, that obviously people aren't that interested in. They can't even sell 1,500 of them. So that just tells me that Games Workshop needs to stop selling the same amount of all these books. There's no reason that like the super popular books like the Horus Heresy, there should be 1,500 of. And then also for something like the Big Daka, there should be 1,500 of. And back in the day, they used to have like more variants in them. Sometimes we would see 2,500 in some cases. And maybe we did with the Horus Heresy. I can't specifically remember. But I mean, at this point in time, it's time to go up to like 3,000, 3,500, maybe even 5,000 of those so that people can actually get a hold of them if they want and stop making it like a FOMO grab bag type situation. Instead, just make it the type of thing where if you actually are a collector, then 10 years from now, that thing will be valuable. Not like whoever can rush in and get a hold of one. And I think realistically, you could say that about a lot of the miniatures as well. So speaking of that, we have a couple of the remaining items right here from last week that sold out. We have the Adeptus Custodes and Orcs Codexes, limited edition, $100 for those. They were sold out pretty quickly. And then, of course, those box sets that they massively underproduced. They pulled back a lot of the store's allocations after promising they would be going out. $210 for those. Great deals right there and basically impossible to get. And then last but not least, we have the Armory of the Blood Angels. So very cool. Lots of stuff coming out this week. Lots of excitement for the Darkoath. I don't think it's going to be some massive crazy seller or anything like that. I don't think anyone's going to have any trouble getting a hold of one if they're after it. We've had a lot of releases lately with the Adeptus Custodes, with the orcs, with both combat patrols, the limited boxes, the new kill team set, just massive amounts of merchandise dropping from Games Workshop recently. And honestly, I think people are going to start hitting the wall here relatively soon. I don't know if that's going to mean Games Workshop actually slows down on its releases, ramping up to like Age of Sigmar. But obviously some of the shortages we've seen in stock recently, the new stuff coming out, I think is a result of them producing massive amounts of Sigmar 4.0. And I know I personally am going to be picking up multiples of those boxes because all of Games Workshop's launch boxes, Leviathan, Dominion, just keep on going back to basically everything they've put out recently has just been absolutely amazing. Awesome models, massive value inside of them. And I don't think Age of Sigmar 4.0 is going to be any different. So let me know what you're most excited about. Are you picking up that Darkoath box set? Did you grab up any of the box sets from last week or the limited codexes before they sold out? Did you have any horror stories where your orders got canceled? Always like to hear back from you guys in the comments. It's nice to just stay in touch with the community. And of course, special thanks to CMO Games for sponsoring the channel. Check out the link in the description to save 15% on Games Workshop products, including this week's pre-orders. That's it for today. Warhammer Man Studios, I'm Warhammer Man, and I'm out of here.